Page 5562. The pillars of a long-lasting relationship. Love and submission, two terms loaded with meaning and importance in our lives. Concepts, often misunderstood, are two pillars that can define the quality of our relationships. Loving is a universal duty that permeates all cultures and all times. However, loving goes beyond feelings and manifests itself in our daily actions. It involves caring, supporting, and being empathetic to the needs and desires of our loved ones. It's a glue that keeps relationships strong, resilient, and crushing. On the other hand, submission is often misinterpreted. It does not imply subjugation, but rather trust and mutual cooperation. When practiced with respect and understanding, it creates balance and harmony in relationships. It means listening, giving in, and trusting the partner's leadership, knowing that this attitude is reciprocal. When love and submission intertwine, it creates a powerful synergy. They become the pillars of lasting and deep relationships. Loving strengthens trust and mutual respect, expressed through care and support. The word submission, in its etymology, means to obligatorily obey without opposing, while to love, from a biblical point of view, represents the act of caring. For women, this implies obeying their husband's instructions and orders without opposing them, while men are obliged to take care, satisfying the material, financial, moral, and physical needs of their partners, regardless of their characteristics or imperfections. However, these obligations have been the target of criticism and contestation by modern society, which considers them archaic and disconnected from current reality. As a result, marriage institutions have become fragile and disposable, leading to a rising divorce rate relative to the number of marriages. It is important to highlight that, in the modern world, submission in the home is, in some societies, mistakenly seen as slavery, when, in reality, it is the essential basis for a solid and prosperous marriage. As we explore the intersection of love and submission in our lives, we can discover the true essence of partnership, understanding, and human connection. These principles can transform not only our relationships, but also our own personal journeys. Therefore, it is essential that we reevaluate our values and recognize the importance of these pillars for building lasting and meaningful relationships. Page 58. The distinction between love and loving. To summarize, love is a feeling, while loving is an unconditional duty. No one can be compelled to feel love for anyone, but we are all compelled to love any living being, especially other human beings, regardless of our feelings towards them. According to research, philosophers and psychologists often interpret the word love as an effect or result of the feeling of love. However, the interpretation of Jesus Christ is different, teaching that love is not a feeling, but rather an obligatory and unconditional duty that all living beings must have. For a better understanding, we can consider that the word love, according to Jesus' teaching, means to care and provide unconditional assistance. This is the understanding that human beings often lack when it comes to the true meaning of the word love. Likewise, the Bible contains verses such as Matthew 5:44 and Luke 6:35 that leave people with doubts and challenges regarding what Jesus said. Love your enemies and pray for them. This verse demonstrates that loving is not a feeling, but a duty. When looking at the Gospels, we understand that Jesus deeply knew human feelings and understood how people react emotionally when they are hurt. It is virtually impossible to continue to feel love for someone who has caused profound harm, especially when that harm affects loved ones. However, Jesus instructs us to love regardless of our feelings. Therefore, we must reinterpret and correctly understand the meaning of the word love. However, this does not mean that we should force feelings of love that do not exist within us. Human beings have a duty to care and provide mutual assistance. The word love in Jesus' interpretation is closer to the idea of duty than feeling. Jesus does not force us to create impossible feelings, but he exhorts us to care unconditionally. We must understand that, although we lose the feeling of love for someone, this does not exempt us from our duty to love the person. Especially when someone depends on us for survival, we have an obligation to care and provide assistance, even if our personal feelings are weakened. We may not like a snake, but when we find one in need, we have a duty to provide assistance. On the other hand, love, as mentioned earlier, is a feeling that can grow, weaken, and die. No one is forced to feel love when there is no reason to do so, or when the other person creates circumstances that weaken or extinguish this feeling. Therefore, love should not be demanded, but rather earned. We cannot force someone to create feelings of love for us. Asking someone to love us is like asking for help, while asking someone to create feelings of love is violating their right to choose and their freedom of feelings. Striving to create non-existent feelings in our souls is comparable to forcing someone to eat something disgusting. We should allow our feelings to flow naturally and attract others through our good energies and attractive qualities, rather than trying to force others to love us when we have given them no reason to. Page 60. Why love is a duty, while feeling love is not. The reason why love is considered an obligatory duty, while the feeling of love is not, is deeply rooted in our interconnectedness as human beings. We are linked to each other by invisible filaments, forming a unit similar to a spider's web. Thus, when we cause harm to our neighbors, in fact, we are also harming ourselves. And, in the same way, when we take care of our neighbors, we are taking care of ourselves. Although our physical eyes cannot perceive this connection, human consciousness must understand the reality of this statement. We are all interconnected. Jesus Christ discussed this concept in the Gospel of John 17:22, while Paul reinforced the idea to the Romans in Romans 12:5, when he stated that we are members in one body. This means that, just as an injured limb can cause pain throughout the body, our actions and choices affect not only ourselves, but the entire network of human interconnections. Therefore, we can think of ourselves as being made of energy, all connected to the same source of light that many call God. Any carelessness with an electrical cable that passes through our home can affect the entire electrical network of an entire neighborhood. In other words, caring for others is not a mere favor. It is an investment and an obligatory duty that translates into the word love. Therefore, it is crucial that we understand the nuances between feelings, love, and the duty to love. This will allow us to avoid unfair charges and unnecessary disregard. We must always remember that as human beings, we have a responsibility to love every living being in the universe unconditionally. We must not confuse this obligation with the feeling of love, which cannot be forced, but rather conquered. The feeling of love depends on the choice and decision of each one of us.